students, I'm Aanchal Sharma, your educator. In this video, we are going to discuss few concepts related to the soil and the noise pollution, and we also solve few questions related to it. So what is soil pollution? Let us read. Soil pollution is defined as the change in any physical, chemical or biological condition due to the presence of various toxic materials in the soil. Harmful substances are added to the soil through the surface runoff or through leaching, etc. And this can cause a problem, or you can say that the soil will lose its own nutrients, and hence it is called as the soil pollution. So any contamination in the soil is called as soil pollution. This contamination will change the physical, chemical or the biological characteristics of the soil. The soil can be polluted by the different pathogenic organisms that are present there, or different organic or inorganic chemicals. Also, toxic metals can be something that can deteriorate the soil as well. Some of the toxic chemicals from the polluted soils can enter to the food chain and then can enter into the human body and can cause harmful problems. And other organisms can also be affected, and there can be serious health problems that can be caused. Hence, it is advisable to protect the soil. Otherwise, the soil will lose its own nutrients, its own fertility, and can cause a lot of problem. Leaching can also be a major problem from which the soil can lose its own property. How can you say that the soil can get polluted? What are the different sources? So the different sources can be the industrial influence, like the harmful gases or chemicals. So you can have industrial waste or industrial influence due to which the soil can get affected. The use of chemicals in agriculture work, like the pesticides, the fertilizers and the insecticides, can cause a lot of problem to the soil. The soil can lose its own capabilities, can lose its own properties and its own qualities. So, and this can cause what? This can in turn cause problem, and flora and fauna can be affected. Improper or ineffective soil management system, giving excess amount of water in irrigation, or the soil balance, soil profile is not maintained, or the soil management system is not correct. These can also cause problem to your soil pollution, can cause problem and can cause soil pollution. Unfavorable irrigation practices like waterlogging or especially over irrigation can cause problem to the soil as well. Poor management, salinity, water leakage or release of the sewage into the dumping grounds, or you can say that the nearby water bodies can also, or near the nearby water bodies can also affect the different types of soil that are present there. Then toxic fumes from industries can get mixed into the can get mixed with the rain, can cause acid rain. It will fall down on the plants as well as on the ground and can deteriorate the soil again. Then leakages of fuel from automobiles, they can also have a greater impact on the soil, and the use of pesticides in the agriculture can also cause problems. Then we have a garbage block the passage of water into the soil and can affect the water holding capacity of the soil. Then unscientific disposal of the nuclear waste can also contaminate the soil and can cause mutations. So the organisms that are living in the soil can die because of the nuclear waste, or because of the garbage that is dumped, or because of the slurry that is disposed of, and this can in turn cause a lot of problem. There can be seepage of different substances from the soil, and ultimately the groundwater can also get contaminated. So it is advisable to protect the soil. What are the consequences of soil pollution? If this is not stopped, what can happen? There can be reduce in the natural substances, or you can say the natural cycles that are present there. So nitrogen fixation can be affected. It can increase the soil erosion. The topsoil that has humus, that is the most fertile part of the soil profile, can lose its own property. So soil erosion can be seen. Imbalance in the flora and the fauna of the soil can also be there. Organisms living in the soil can die because of the toxicity that is present. Increase in the soil salinity can make it extremely unfit to do further cultivation. Then there can be foul odor because of the industrial waste, industrial chemicals or gases, and alteration of the soil structure can lead to the death of organisms that are living in it. Now, what can be some remedial measures? So, some remedial measures can be reducing the use of different chemicals, different fertilizers or pesticides. Then it is important to use the 3 R's, very important that the recycling of the paper and ban of the plastics should be there, but it is advisable to first of all start with using less and less of plastic and other materials, right? Then we have the ban of the use of plastic bags, and also because this is causing the major amount of pollution. Then avoiding deforestation and promoting afforestation is very important. Grow more and more of plants or trees rather than cutting them. Suitable and safe disposal of waste, including the nuclear waste, is very important. Then chemical fertilizers and pesticides should be replaced by organic fertilizers and pesticides. Then undertaking many pollution awareness programs can be there. We have studied about the major project about life. Now, right, we discussed about it that in the different NDCs, we have also talked about the life project, that we will be creating more and more awareness because we are for the environment and by the environment only. So we need to do few things so that the environment can be protected. We are now promoting the campaigns that the plastic bags should also be banned, right? And the last but not the least is bioremediation. You can improve the quality of the soil by using different microorganisms. Now, what is bioremediation? So, it's a treatment that uses naturally occurring organisms to break down the different hazardous substances into less toxic or non-toxic substances. So, you have one land and there are a lot of toxic materials available, or you can say that this land is not fit. So, there can be different microorganisms that can work on that land. It can be in situ or ex situ, but these microorganisms are added and the toxicity of the soil can be reduced. So, the hazardous substances can be converted into less toxic or non-hazardous substances. It uses microorganisms to degrade the organic components in the soil, the groundwater, sludge and the solids. The microorganisms would break down the contaminants by using them as their energy source, and then they will use it further to create the energy. So what will happen? The organisms that are added, the microorganisms that are added will feed on the waste that is present there. The waste can be anything that is there. They would degrade it and would make it into an organic waste, and then by this the energy can be created, right? So this is done by using the energy. So when fungi is used, we call it as the mycoremediation. So there are different types of remediation. There can be 3 types of remediation. It can be classified into 3 ways. It can be microbial bioremediation. It is done by using microbes to break down the contaminants by using them as a food source. So they will use all the waste that is present there as their food source. Then we have the phytoremediation. It uses the plants to bind, extract and clean up the pollutants such as the different, we have petroleum, hydrocarbonates or different metals, chlorinated solvents or different pesticides that are present there. Then we have mycoremediation. Mycoremediation is done when we use fungi as the digestive enzyme that will break down on the different contaminants such as pesticides, hydrocarbons or heavy metals. So this is how you can treat the land that we have. Also, it can be done in 2 ways. So, bioremediation can be done in 2 ways, in situ remediation and ex situ remediation. So, in situ means that you have a land and you are putting the microorganisms on that land only to protect the land. But in the ex situ, you are using the different organisms you are placing the different organisms there. In the in situ, you are trying to use the microorganisms that are already present there, right? So already present microorganisms are somehow charged, somehow air or water is being charged on them so that they can activate themselves and can protect the land. But in an ex situ bioremediation, other microorganisms are added. So there can be these two types of bioremediation. Also, of course, ex situ is more better, of course, because better kinds of microorganisms can be used, but your in situ is less expensive. Let us move forward. So we have three questions related to our soil pollution. So given below are two statements, and one is assertion and the other is reason. Soil pollution due to detergent affects the root growth of the plants and depress the growth of soil microorganisms. Then we have the reason. The presence of detergents in the soil makes the soil more acidic. In the light of these statements, you need to answer, are both A and R correct and R is the correct explanation? Both A and R are correct and R is not the correct explanation. A is correct and R is not correct, and A is not correct and R is correct. So let me show you the answer. A is correct, but R is not correct. So A is correct, but R is not correct. C becomes the right answer. Let us read. First of all, your assertion is very much correct. The soil pollution due to the excess use of detergent, they will hamper the root growth of different plants that are there, and it will also stop the growth of the microorganisms. It will depress the growth of good microorganisms and the soil can get deteriorated. And then in the presence of the detergents, the soil makes the soil more acidic. No, this is not true. Right? So we have assertion as correct, but your reason is not correct. Then we have the source of arsenic pollution in groundwater is what? So in the groundwater, arsenic sometimes seeps down or it can percolate inside the groundwater. From where do we find the most amount of arsenic? So we have industrial influence, we have deep underground formulations, we have dyeing industries or agriculture waste. And from these, whenever we have different arsenic compounds present there, these arsenic pollution is caused basically because of the percolation or the leaching of the arsenic into the water. Hence, the soil is also deteriorated and the groundwater is also affected. So what is the right answer? It is industrial influence. So all the industrial influence, you will find that there are a lot of arsenic being used in the industries, and these industries just dispose of the water without treating it or dispose of the waste without treating it, and these waste can either go into the landfill and then can percolate and can harm the groundwater, or in the water bodies they can be just driven to the water bodies and can cause your groundwater or water pollution. Then given below are these two statements again, assertion and reason are there. The in situ passive soil remediation process is the easiest to implement and the least expensive. Then we have the reason. It relies upon several natural processes to destroy the contaminants. So what is the right answer? The right answer is A. Both A and R are correct and R is the correct explanation. So as I told you, in the in situ soil remediation, the microorganisms that are present there are activated. So we use different ways. In an in situ bioremediation. There can be biosparging, right? There can be bioventing. Now what is bioventing? And bioventing, you have the soil and here there is a well that is being dug and a lot of air is being passed here. When the air is passed, the microorganisms that are present there will activate itself. So when the microorganisms that are already present there, we try to activate it, then it is called as in situ. While on the other hand, when we are putting more and more of other microorganisms, we are bringing it from outside. We call it as ex situ bioremediation. One example can be land farming. composting. A very good example is biopiling. So what is done in biopiling? You see that there is a layer of soil that needs to be treated. Then there are microorganisms placed here. So there is a layer of soil, then microorganisms are placed. Then another layer of soil, microorganisms are placed. Like this, the microorganisms would feed on the land, would feed on the soil, and the properties would be regained. Biofilter, composting, land farming, and biopiling are few ways in which your ex-situ bioremediation is done. Sometimes the slurry phase is also there, in which the soil is mixed with water. Slurry is, you prepare a slurry and then bioreaction can happen. Here in the in situ, you can use the biosparging, bioventing, bioslurring, or biosimulation. What is simulation? You are enacting it, right? So you are activating the already present microorganisms. Bioaugmentation, natural attenuation, right? So these can be different ways in which you can use the land or use the microorganisms that are already present. Now, noise pollution. So noise pollution is the undesirable noise that is seen, and these undesirable noise can cause a lot of problem to your eardrums, or maybe you can have psychological problems, or it can be some mental problems and these can hamper your nervous system as well. So whenever the undesirable noise is there, we call it as noise pollution. The sound is always measured in decibels, that is this dB. It is important. It is a form of energy having the wave motion. Any sound which is unwanted, unpleasant to our ear is called as the noise. Thus, any undesirable sound which adversely affects the physical, mental health of the recipient is called as nothing but noise pollution. Noise pollution can be due to the natural process or because of other anthropogenic or human activities. It is caused by industries, mining, transportation, household, thunder, vehicles, or it can be loudspeakers. It can be because of the supersonic jets that are used, or aircrafts, etc. Noise or the loud noise can make a person impaired, or it can also cause many psychological problems, or total deafness can also be caused. Now, what are the different consequences of this noise pollution? Hearing impairment can be there. Anxiety and stress are the extreme causes, right? You feel nauseous, you feel anxious, you feel stressful when you hear a lot of noise. Increase in the heart rate, increase in the blood pressure, or in the cholesterol level are also related to noise pollution. Stomach disorder and digestive spasms are also seen when you go through a lot of noise, right? So this picture in front of you will show that how much the person is suffering because of the honking or the other things, because of maybe the bus, the transport, the music systems, or the person shouting there. These are all different ways of noise pollution. Now, according to the air quality standards in respect to the noise, this report was given. It categorized the different areas or different zones, and which is the limit of the decibels or the noise limit was decided. What should be the noise limit during the daytime and during the night time? These were decided. The area was divided into different zones. So there were industrial areas, there were commercial areas, residential areas, and there was silence zone. So a hospital and a school or a college is located in the silence zone, and these are the different zones. And then the government also said that there should be limits for the noise level as well, limits in the daytime and for the night time as well. So you should remember the maximum limit that is present, that is given to you, because they do ask questions like this in the paper. So in the daytime, 75 is the limit when it comes to industrial area. Commercial area mein you see it is 65. Then in the residential area it is 55. Then in the silent zone it is 50. And in the night time, in the industrial area it can go to 70 decibel, or in the commercial it can go to 55, in the residential it can go to 45, and in the silent zone the noise can go to 40 decibel. The question was also asked from it. According to the noise pollution regulation and control rules in India, noise in an education institute during the night time, the timing is 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., must not exceed what? What should be the limit? So we are talking about an educational institute which is a silence zone. So in the silence zone, we are talking about the night time, that is 40. So the right answer is what? It is 40 dB, 40 decibel, right? So I hope you understood what is soil pollution, how can you treat soil pollution. Bioremediation is an important method. There are other methods as well. You need to stop using plastic bags, you need to promote awareness, and also less and less amount of fertilizers and chemicals and pesticides should be used, and you should replace them with organic fertilizers and pesticides. Also, it is important that the noise pollution is limited because it can cause a lot of problems. Eardrum damage can be there, total loss can be there, total impairment can be there. Also, stress level can be increased. People can go or become very much anxious if there is a lot of noise. So there are proper zones that are decided, and you cannot exceed the noise from these levels. So 75 daytime, 70 in the night time is given for industrial area. In the commercial area, it is 65 in the day and 55 at the night. In the residential area, it is 55 and 45 respectively. And in the silence zone, it is 50 to 40, right? So this is what I had for today's video, and these type of questions are always asked. So I want you to keep on revising, and pollution itself is a very important topic. They ask a lot of questions from air pollution, water pollution, noise, as well as the soil pollution, right? So I hope you understood. If you have any doubt, you can write it in the comment section and I'll surely reply to you. Thank you.